Hi, Eric Blankenship with Blankenship Law. A lot of times I'm asked whether or not an individual should take a breathalyzer or a chemical test when asked to take one by a police officer at a traffic stop. And my opinion, my answer to everyone is always yes, you should. If a police officer asks you to take a breath test or a blood draw to determine your blood alcohol content, you should do that. Because in the state of Indiana, if an officer has probable cause to believe that you've been driving your car, operating your vehicle while intoxicated, he has to read you your rights and advise you that he is now asking you to take a chemical test. If you don't take that chemical test, your license will be suspended for 1 year in the state of Indiana. Now, if you have a prior conviction for operating while intoxicated and you refuse this second time, your license will be suspended for 2 years. So there's a lot to lose by not taking the breath test. On top of that, most counties in the state of Indiana, most counties that I'm familiar with anyway, are now practicing the right to get a search warrant for your blood if you refuse to take a chemical test. So on top of that, police officers, as long as they can get a search warrant within the time scope, which is generally 3 hours of operation, the last time you last drove the car, within that 3 hours, if they can get a search warrant and withdraw your blood and find out that you were operating under the legal limit or above the legal limit, you will not only be facing criminal charges, but you will still lose your license for up to 1 year. For 1 whole year, you will be without a license, and they still got the evidence that they wanted. So, in my opinion, it's always best to go ahead and take the chemical test. Now, as far as the field sobriety tests, the one-leg stand, the walk and turn, those tests, that's completely up to you. I'm not going to advise you one way or the other. But when it comes to the chemical test, the breath test, you should take that because you have so much more to lose. There are ways to get your license reinstated if you lose it because of a DUI or operating while intoxicated. And we can talk about that further at a later time, and I'd be happy to talk with you about that one-on-one. But at the roadside, when the police officer asks if you'll consent to a chemical test, my opinion is you should always do that. Until next time, I hope this has answered some of your questions. If you have follow-up questions, feel free to email me, text me, call me, visit my Facebook page. I'll always be happy to talk with you. Until next time.